Hello, Frictionless Families. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for forwarding these videos onto other people. We really appreciate it. Today I want to talk to you about something that is very subtle, but actually can really hurt our children, especially when they start getting older. And the thing that's sad about it is it happens because we're really trying to help. So this is a short video, but it's very important, so stick with me for this. Edge panic. I learned that phrase when I was in college from artist friends of mine. And what that is when people are using things like pen and ink where you have to get it right because you can't erase it. It's where you're drawing something and you're working on a piece of art, and as you're moving from the left to the right or the right to the left, you start to become afraid that I just might not have enough room. And so what happens is you start compressing the image and you start reducing the space between stuff, and it can actually ruin your painting because you're trying to do it right. And I've never heard anybody talk on this, and so I want to share it with you. We had edge panic with Michael when he was about 17, getting ready to go to college, and we had realized there was a lot of stuff that was left undone. There's a lot of things he didn't know how to do. There's things he didn't know about that he needed to know before he left our house. And so we had edge panic, and it fell into two areas. So one half of it was skill sets. Those are things that Michael needed to learn, and we had a short period of time to teach him to them. The other one was something that went on in my head and in my heart about Michael and his competence, and there was danger in that, and I'll talk about that next. Let's talk about skill sets first because they're the easiest to fix. Skill sets are just basically life skills that you know your children are going to need that you didn't get a chance to get to yet. When they're 7, it seems like there's a lot of time. When they're 17, boy, it seems like the time is short. And so that could be things like finances, auto repair, how to cook, how to do laundry, those types of things. And for that, all you really need, it's not hard, is you need a plan. You need to know what it looks like when they actually know how to do it right, and then a plan on how to get them from where they are to what is competence for whatever that skill set is. And so that's not really hard to do. That's generally just teaching and walking with your child on how to do it. That's the easy one. The one that was really subtle that I didn't see was something that went on inside of my head, and it sounded like this. This happened in my heart. It's like, man, he is 17. I can't believe I'm having to explain this to him. And with that came an attitude of condescension. And I believe that Michael picked up on that. I'm sure that he did. He picked up on that, and I think that wounded him in some ways because it made him feel less than. It made him feel like he wasn't good enough, that he didn't make it, that he didn't make the cut, because somehow he should have known these things that I had never actually taught him. And he didn't learn them. He wasn't going to learn them on his own. He needed his dad and his mom and somebody else to teach him what those were, and nobody had. And then I have the attitude that because you turned an age, all of a sudden you're supposed to have this competence across the board. And what I'd realized is when he was little, I spent all of my time focusing on the stuff that Michael could do. It's like, he can walk, he can crawl, he does know his letters, he can read, right? This is what we do with little kids. And then something happened when he got taller than me. And that's when I realized, wow, he's kind of a man now. I assumed that just because he had gotten taller than I am, that all of a sudden he's going to have all the skills of a full-grown man. And he didn't. And so what I started to do is I started to focus, because I wanted to help him, really. I wanted him to be ready, but I focused on all the stuff that he couldn't do. There was a real danger that if I hadn't caught this early, his last 6 months to a year with us could have been just one long whip for him. And that would have been on me. So if you're experiencing edge panic with your child, I'd like to encourage you with this. When we went off to college, there was a lot of things we didn't know. When I went to college, I was only good at 3 things. I got good grades, I was really good at the drums because I was a music major, and I was good at racquetball because that's what I played on the weekends for fun. Other than that, I was a work in progress across the board. When it comes to skill sets that we have neglected or didn't get to, most likely probably didn't get to them, that's not a hard one to fix. Figure out what they need to know, Have a plan. How much time do you have, and what's the bare minimum that you can get by with teaching them so that they're ready to go? And then on the last part, when it comes to focus, I would really encourage you to focus on the stuff that they can do. Don't make that last year miserable, focusing on all the stuff that they can't. They're going to be okay. And as far as that switch goes where, hey, they're 17 and they should have all this stuff mastered, I just really like to encourage you to focus on the stuff that they can. Resist that temptation to ride them on all the stuff that they can't do. Focus on those cans and help them on the stuff that they can't do, and make that last year with them a time where you really pour into them and create fertile soil for them in their hearts, so that when they move off to college, they still want to call home and talk to mom and talk to dad and get their input and their opinion, because you have earned it.